Safe and equal in the event of a flood, earthquake, or wildfire. Disasters can happen anytime and anywhere. Some happen without warning, whereas others can be predicted. It is important that deaf, hard of hearing, and deafblind people and their family members and personal assistants are also prepared for disasters. What to do before the disaster? Slovenia is frequently hit by disasters. To make sure you are prepared, identify whether you live in an area at risk from floods, earthquakes, or wildfires. For instructions on how to prepare for and deal with disasters. Possible ways to contact the 112 number. In the event of a major disaster, it may happen that the assistance of emergency services is not immediately available. Electricity, natural gas and water supplies are disrupted. Sewage and heating systems are damaged. Telecommunication systems don't work. Access to shops, pharmacies, doctors' surgeries, and so on is blocked. Consider what problems you might have in the event of a disaster. Create a social network of people who can help you. These can be relatives, friends, neighbors, or co-workers. Agree on how they would help you during and after a disaster. Bear in mind that these people may not always be available or may not be able to reach you. When you are asleep, always keep your hearing aid in the same place, for example, next to your bed. Prepare paper and pencil or cards with written text to communicate. I use Slovenian Sign Language, I can't hear, etc. Make sure you and your home are safe and secure. For protection against earthquakes. Fix the furniture to a wall or other support. Place large or heavy items on lower shelves. Do not hang heavy framed pictures or mirrors above beds and sitting areas or similar locations. For protection against floods. In rooms subject to flooding, lift furniture and other equipment off the floor. Floors and walls should be made of materials that can be cleaned and dry quickly. Ensure that rainwater drains smoothly around the house. For protection against wildfires. Keep the surroundings of buildings tidy. Keep combustible materials at a safe distance. Remove tree branches and dry grass. If you cannot do it yourself, ask relatives, friends, or neighbors to help. Protective measures such as evacuation, reception, care in accommodation facilities, NBC protection, and other measures may be ordered to ensure the safety of the population. In the event of evacuation, follow the instructions of the competent services. Say that you need help. Take the essentials that you have prepared for the event of an emergency with you. Consider your needs and the needs of your family members. Upon arrival, registration is carried out and the most urgent care is provided. Tell the staff what help you need and what your limitations are. Inform your relatives where you are. What to do during a disaster. Earthquake. Look for shelter under solid tables, indoor frames in load-bearing walls, or along interior load-bearing walls. Squat down, bend your head to your knees, protect your head with your elbows and cover the nape of your neck with the palms of your hands. If you're outside, go to an open space. If you cannot move away from buildings, find protection against falling objects in nearby door openings. If you are trapped in rubble after an earthquake, stay calm. If it gets dusty, cover your mouth and nose with any protective covering to hand, a handkerchief, part of your clothes. Strike an object against a metal installation or wall at regular intervals to help the rescuers find you. Flood. When in a flooded building, move to a higher floor. When out in the open, move to a location that cannot be reached by the rising water. Do not cross a watercourse, even if it only reaches up to your knees. Respect roadblocks and closed underpasses. Do not drive on flooded roads. Wildfire. Remove objects that could catch fire from the building's surroundings. If there is smoke in the air, close the doors and windows and turn off ventilation and air conditioning systems. What to do after a disaster. Earthquake. Inspect the condition of the building and the damage to it. If the structure is damaged, do not enter. If there is no electricity, use a battery-powered torch for lighting. Do not light matches or smoke. In the event of a drinking water supply disruption, follow the instructions about boiling water or use bottled water. Have the plumbing, sewage, gas and electrical installations and flue devices professionally inspected. Flood. Flooding can damage buildings, flood basements and lower floors, move furniture and equipment, and deposit mud and debris. Pump the water from the flooded premises and remove the debris and flooded equipment. Clean, disinfect and dry the premises and equipment. Discard items that cannot be cleaned. Throw away food that came into contact with the floodwater. Wildfire. Follow the instructions of the competent authorities on how to return to your home. Ventilate the building when there is no smoke or smell of smoke in the air. How to approach deaf and hard of hearing people. People who are deaf or hard of hearing use different ways to communicate. A hearing aid or hearing implant, sign language, lip reading, writing on paper or a phone. When communicating with people who are deaf or hard of hearing, consider ethnical principles and the equal status of the other party. Be respectful. Get the person's attention. Stand in front of them or wave your hand in their field of view and introduce yourself. Find out how the person communicates. Describe the situation or hazard. Ask if they need help. Reduce noise and lighten the room. In the event of a power cut, a battery-powered torch can help. It is important that the person has a good view of the person they are talking to, especially of the lips and face. Speak clearly, slowly, and in short sentences. If the person does not understand what you are saying, repeat it or say it another way. You can communicate a lot by pointing, nodding, shaking your head, and so on. You can use your phone or take a piece of paper and write down what you want to say. If a sign language interpreter is helping you to communicate, look at the person you are talking to, not the interpreter, as this is the best way to see how the person is feeling. If rescuers detect a person in the rubble who is not responding to calls or any contact from the rescuers, the possibility that the person may be deaf or hard of hearing should be considered. Emergency call 112. In EU countries, 112 is always available free of charge. If you need emergency medical assistance or help from the fire brigade, other emergency services, or the police, you can dial 112 to tell the operator. Who is calling? What happened? Where it happened? When it happened? How many are injured? What the injuries are? What the circumstances at the scene are? What help you need. People who are deaf or hard of hearing can send a text message, SMS, to 112. Explain in the message what happened, and the operator will respond to it in writing. Their reply or additional questions will be displayed on the screen of your mobile device. Data on calls and messages sent to the 112 number are stored for 6 months. Misuse of calls and messages sent to this number are punishable offenses. For more information on preventive advice, see www.leafletsafe.eu. Published by the Ministry of Defense, Administration of the Republic of Slovenia for Civic Protection and Disaster Relief. Concept, illustrations, design and page break, Studio ID DOO, Dobravlje. Translation, Vlasta Deželak, Ministry of Defense. Proofreading, Just Carey, Just English Language. Adaptation for easy reading, Risa Institute. Slovenian Sign Language, Deaf and Hard of Hearing Clubs Association of Slovenia. Print, Graphics DO. Circulation, 12,000 copies, Ljubljana, 2022. This text was created within the project Safe and Equal in Emergencies See Me.